In that last video, I wanted to cover a couple of priority values and how they got automatically changed to what they did, because there is a little bit of rhyme and reason to it. And with switch 2, after we ran spanning VLAN root priority to make it the root of VLAN 20, its priority was 24,596. And I've got it highlighted here for you. I'll bring that down a little bit. And under bridge ID, which we know is the local switch's information, we're on switch 2, the priority was changed to 24,596, which is actually the priority of 24,576 plus the system ID extension of 20, 20 being the VLAN number. So we ended up with a total of 24,596, but the priority itself was changed to 24,576. Where did that value come from? Well, it depends. If the current root priority is greater than 24,576, then the priority of the new root will be 24,576 plus the VLAN ID in this case, since the system extension ID is running. Now, if the current root priority is less than 24,576, then the switch will subtract 4,096 from that root priority, and you have the new root priority. That's it. Now, how about switch 3's priority for VLAN 20? Remember, that was 28,692, and that made it the secondary for VLAN 20. Well, basically, to be blunt with you, it's a guess. It really is, because your secondary priority is 28,672, and that's it. And in this case, again, since we had the system extension ID running, as most switches do, it added the VLAN number and gave us the end priority of 28,692. Another thing about this that you got to watch is when switches get added or priorities change on other switches. Because right now, we're going back to VLAN 20. We know that switch 2 is the root. Well, what if someone goes to switch 1 and uses the priority command to change that bridge's priority to a lower value than that of the current root primary and secondary? You know, what's going to happen then? Well, here's what's going on. Let's bring the live equipment up, and what I'll do is head over to switch 1. And we'll do a show spanning VLAN 20. And we could see it sees switch 2 as the root, and it has the default priority 32,768 plus the system ID extension. So switch 1 is definitely not the root, but let's see what happens now if we change its priority manually to something less than 24,596. And we can do that with the spanning VLAN command. And this time we're going to use the priority command, not root. We're going to set the bridge priority for the spanning tree. And you look at this and go, hey, you can set it anywhere from 0 to 61,440 in increments of 4,096. And you go, ah, shoot, you know, why it's got to be like that? Then it's 4,096, and it's 8,192, and I'm already tired of doing that. Let me show you a little trick that'll show you all the increments of 4,096 you can use. Just enter a non-4,096 multiple, like say 7,000, and it's going to give you a warning first off, or a message, priority has to be in increments of 4,096. It's also going to give you all the allowed values. So, you know, God forbid we do math in this business, right? But I realize 4,096, you know, doesn't exactly just go right off the tongue when you get to about that fourth multiple. So let's see what happens now if I change switch 1's priority to 8,192. The question right now is, did switch 2 dynamically adjust to this change since I had the primary command on there, or is switch 1 the new root? And let's take a look. And it looks like switch 1 is now the root, because you can see that priority is 8,212. That, of course, is the original priority of 8192 plus the VLAN ID, which is 20. So let's go over to switch 2 and see what's going on there. Let's try that again. Every once in a while. Show spanning VLAN 20. And you can see that switch 2 now recognizes switch 1 as the root, that new low priority. The thing is with this command, when you use the root primary command, it only runs once. And it runs when you run it, and that's it. So if a switch gets added later on, that has a lower priority, the switch that you put root primary on, it's not going to dynamically adjust. It's not like there's, it's continually advertised something like that. Oh, well, we just got a new BPDU and let's lower it. It's not going to work that way. It's a little odd, I certainly grant you, and it's definitely something you want to be aware of. So that is really it as far as changing the changing the priority. We know two ways to do it now. We can use the root primary, root secondary commands. We know where those values came from now. And also, we see how to use the priority command, that you have to have increments of 4096. And again, let me just remind you that if you don't want to do that, just enter a non-4096 value right there. Oh, excuse me. And it's going to give you all those values. It's pretty sweet. So that is it for this section of STP, where there's plenty to come. We've got some advanced features to come up, a little bit of security as well. So take a breather. I'll see you in the next section and we'll get started.